Good morning. This is Judy at Artistic Artifacts in Alexandria, Virginia, and welcome to our Facebook Live that we hold on every Saturday at 9:30 Eastern Time. Now, for those of you where it's too early for you to get up, or it's already asleep in the middle of the night where you are, we do hold these films and add them to our YouTube channel. So we save them on our Facebook page as well as we save them on our YouTube channel. So we get asked that a lot, and we definitely want you to have access to this information because we think it's of interest to you. So it's the week before. I grew up going, it's the week before Christmas, or it's the week before my birthday. Now it's the week before Kaffe. So we are at Mach 5 getting ready for all of these people who are going to come join us and celebrate Kaffe and Brandon. So with the lecture is on Friday at the Masonic Temple. We do have a page that talks about all the events that's happening, and I'm sure the link will be posted in the comments. But we do have seating. There is not a bad seat in the house at the Masonic Temple. The theater is absolutely fabulous. So the lecture will start at 7. We will have a pop-up shop that starts at 5. So let me back up a little bit. So we will have a full-fledged pop-up store with a lot of unusual creative kits, items. We've received shipments from India. We've received shipments from Indonesia. All of that will be in the pop-up shop. You can come at 5 o'clock if you hold a ticket to the lecture. So that will allow you to shop. Seating will not open until 6:30, and we expect a full house. We do have seats left. As I said, there's not a bad seat in the house. They're all really great, but we will be a full house. We have had questions about masking. Masking is a choice for you right now in Alexandria. That's the policy. It depends on, that's a personal choice that you're going to make. So the lecture will start at around 7 on the nose. Around 8-ish, we will actually set up an area for you to have your book signed by Kaffe, because you will receive with your ticket a copy of his new book, Quilts in Wales. That's all in the information about the project. At 8 o'clock, the pop-up shop will open again. And we will, at the time, have book signing. We will have a social media booth. That will be a lot of fun. And we will have the pop-up store. Now, one of the things that we're completely excited about is that we have the ability to sell you Kaffe sewing machines. So let's just show them the machine, Kyle. So this is the 770, and it does come with an embroidery module. And look at, this fabric is absolutely awesome. It's great. It's printed. We do have them in stock. We will be able to sell them to you. You will be able to take them home that night from the lecture. We also have the 475. Those are available as well. Information is on our website about those machines. So all our mastery classes are via Zoom, so it does not matter where you are. You will receive your mastery training. So the 770 plus embroidery module comes with a free gift. That's a lot of embroidery goodies. Sharon and I just want the box. Comes with a full set of Kaffe fabrics, and it has Creator, which is embroidery that you can use on your computer to create your projects and be able to transfer them to your machine and speak the language. It also has special edition Kaffe program embroidery patterns, and I can tell you these are really pretty cool. They do have information about cross stitch, embroidery, his flowers. There's just a wealth of information that's in here. So that's very exciting for us to be able to sell those at our pop-up store. We will be able to sell them all weekend, and we do, as I said, have them in stock, and you can take them home with you. So we will be getting more machines throughout the next several months. So it's available there for you. Now, today is about ribbons. Renaissance Ribbons produces these wonderful jacquard ribbons. They're very well made, very nice, very colorful. The company works with designers. So we have some Kaffe, we have some Tula. They have many other designers. We just usually pick, because we already have a wall of ribbons, we usually pick the artists that we work with and sell their fabric. So these are pre-packs. Then on our website, we have more. Look at those colors. They're great.
You do have one question.
I do, okay.
Carrie, I believe she asked, will those be sold separately? And I believe it was the machines questions.
The 770? Oh, yes, they are, sorry. The 470 can be purchased, the 770 can be purchased separately, yes. Unless you want to buy them all together, that's okay. We can come up with that too. So these are, then it's, we're kind of like, okay, so what do we do with them? So the ribbons led us down a rabbit hole, and we're going to bring you with us. So we're going to show you a couple things that are really awesome to do with these jacquard ribbons. Did that answer that question?
No, it didn't. She wanted to know about the machine and the embroidery CDs.
The embroidery CDs are not sold separately.
They're sold as a package
yes,
when you buy the
770 and the embroidery module that goes with it. Sometimes OESD will sell them after the fact, but I think it's like a year or two, because these machines will be being marketed into the first quarter of next year. So it's going to be like 1 or 2 years before they do it, but they will eventually. All right. So the ribbons were okay. We have ribbons, they're really cool ribbons. What do we do with them? Which is, our life. Every morning we wake up going, what are we going to do with this? This Chris did, which is, we love these Aster and Ann gray wool felt. They are kind of the foundation. So there's a needle book, there's a book cover, there's purses that are just wonderful. And this is an easy to sew. You definitely have to use a larger needle. It comes with all the hardware, which is another thing that we love. And it comes flat. So all of these come in pieces so that it's much easier to sew. And this one was flat, this piece all the way around here. So these are all fabulous Kaffe ribbons, and Chris, like me, I love fusibles, so I would fuse them down and then stitch them, and then you assemble the purse. Did you use fusible, Chris?
I use fusible, but they're not stitched.
They're not stitched, but they feel very secure.
Yes, the fusible, it took a little bit of time to get a good fuse,
and
but
look at that
it
edge.
Really tight.
Yeah. So you do need a sewing machine, kind of. I think
a sewing machine to sew it together.
Or you could do that by hand if you wanted. So this is a non-machine project. I think is really great.
Yeah, because the felt's very easy to hand stitch through, in addition to machine stitch. And
right.
I use the walking foot to stitch it.
Okay, this part here. Yes, because this little thing in here is a little tricky.
I use Wonder Clips. I mean, they give you some really nice pins, but I use Wonder Clips.
Yeah, they really do try to protect, they give you the hardware. Here's the pin she's talking about. The instructions are very easy. Great projects. These are absolutely wonderful ways of, I did a backpack that was just collaged with Marsha Dursey fabrics. So it's definitely easy. So that's one thing with the ribbons. Now, the other thing, another Aster and Ann project is one I'm working on. And for those of you who know me well, know that I inherited a lot of fabric. So I've been working with vintage Kaffe fabric. And I am working on a pillow cushion cover. This again is another Aster and Ann product. And let me show you what I've done. Kyle, you'll need to come a little bit closer, and So here's my pillow size. It's here. It's this size. So this piece was finished already, and this piece was finished already. So I was like, okay, well, I like to use things that are kind of started. So these are Kaffe Special Edition stitches. And look at all those circles. This is all, these pattern stitches come only with this machine, and they're really a lot of fun. Now this is only with a 50 weight cotton. These would be great in a 12 weight cotton. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to test that, but I will certainly do that. So they are wonderful. So circles, leaves. So I would have fused this, but I didn't have fusible at the moment. So I did do some stitching right here to hold it in place. And then I just kind of did a flip and turn. So flip and turn is when you sew this line here and then you turn it. All right, this is ribbon, this is fabric, this is ribbon. So then I'm going to have another piece of fabric, and then this is ribbon. So the ribbon is stitched down just with a straight stitch. I made it about 2.5 so that it was a little bit longer, and I held that in place there. So that's how I'm going to work on this, finish this pillow, is just kind of stitching and turning and adding. And it's really nice because the ribbon is soft like the fabric is, so when you put your head on it, it's not going to be all bumpy and goofy. So that's another idea.
Well, we did have one question. Do you have any fusible recommendations?
Yes. My first choice, and as this is most of us, is Misty Fuse. So Misty Fuse is a paperless fusible. I use that, Chris uses it, Liz uses it. It's a very soft, but it's very strong. So if you need to fuse a lightweight silk fabric, you can do that, and it's not going to make it stiff. A lot of fusible make things stiff, but for this purpose, this thing, I use Misty Fuse. Then we do sell it. Thanks, Chris. We have small packs and large packs, and I actually have been asked recently to buy it on the rolls, especially in the white, so we'll look at adding that. Yes. So that is, I mean, we just use it. I just hook it up on a roller in my studio, and I just pull it down like a paper towel rack. You use a Teflon sheet or parchment paper. So I usually have a large Teflon sheet, which I probably have a million of them. I can never have too many because I can't always find them. So I have that down on my ironing board, and then I set up what I'm going to fuse, and then I put another Teflon sheet on top of it and iron it. Now, I didn't know this, but the woman who owns the business, and it is a woman-owned business, so of course we want to support that too, is Iris. She went more, so I figured this out. Let me back up a minute. Okay, I Wonder Under. Ugh. Okay, so it's easy to get, it's accessible, but what happened to me one time was I was ironing something with Wonder Under, and I ironed and melted the fusible right off. If you over iron those things, the fusible goes away. Well, I didn't know that. So the next time I saw Iris at a show, I was like, "What? I don't get this. What happens?" She said, "Oh yeah, that's common. That's you know, with inexpensive fusibles, you will have that." I said, "Okay, so does Misty Fuse do that?" She says, "No, it doesn't. It becomes stronger the more you iron it. It's stronger, high heat. So it really is a fabulous product. The fact that it doesn't have paper on it is better for our environment. With that being said, I do use one other fusible, only one, for certain things, specific things, and that's Steam-A-Seam 2, and it's sticky. So when I'm collaging a lot of things, I do use that. But I would say 99% of the times I am using Misty Fuse. So, good question. Awesome question. Any others so far? Okay.
Everybody loves your top.
My top, Hand Jive. Okay, I can tell you where I got this one. It's from a website that's called Hand Jive. And it's actually very comfortable. I thought it was going to be too heavy. Okay, so on to ribbons. So ribbons then led us to wood blocks. I know, it just only happens here. we guess it's the wood blocks. So we, if you saw the newsletter on Wednesday, you know that we actually have a new woodblock kit in a small and a large that is inspired by Kaffe. So we have some flowers. My understanding is this one just came directly from a piece of fabric. These are very popular in the sunflowers. So, and this one, this dogwood, I kind of become addicted to the dogwood. Now, don't panic. They are in pre-order at the moment because we sold out our allotment for the newsletter. But we can get more. It's okay. Don't panic. But what would be really helpful is if you do want them, if you could order them on pre-order, then I make sure I order enough for everybody plus some extra. But it's not a big deal. If you can do that, it's helpful. If you can't, that's all right. They'll be in stock. They takes about 3 months for us to go back to the wood carvers, have the sets made, and to receive them shipping wise. But don't panic. I can get some more. We want to make you happy. We want you to use wood blocks. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Chris we just stamped some, and again, when I woodblock print, I don't stamp with a project in mind. I just stamp for the joy of stamping, hanging out. We did it with a couple of staff members. It was a lot of fun. So our dogwood turned out to be our fun stamp between Chris and I. We both got totally zoomed in on this one. Now, you know, Chris likes her rice pack bags.
Modern Japanese
Thank you.
rice pouch by KZ Stevens.
There you go. I'm sure there's a link because we have the pattern and it's really great. I'm so envious that she makes so many of these. So we'll show you some pattern stitches on this in a minute. All right, so I did one too. And we do have a class on Saturday and Sunday of next weekend that's block printing and stitching. So the idea is that we're going to block print. You'll have access to the blocks. You don't have to buy them. You'll use my set, and then you're going to create some pieces. Well, again, my vintage Kaffe here. I'm in my head thinking, okay, maybe I'm going to make a little book. Maybe I could make a little quiltlet, but I need some ribbon, of course. So keep moving my glasses. So I think, okay, maybe I'll use this one, and I'll put some decorative stitches this way and this way also. And I do have a raw edge. I did do some hand stitching on this one, but you know, maybe it'll be a quiltlet, maybe it'll be the start of a book. And this is just a straight stitch, and I did French knots. So that's another idea. And then Chris made some cards, which are just absolutely wonderful. So I did some printing, and she did some printing too. You know, this works this way. So the ribbon, the woodblock prints, is kind of a lotus, and this is all on fabric. So we do sell Strathmore mixed media cards or regular cards, and you fuse these, right, Chris? These are fused, all fused, again with Misty Fuse. All right, so there's that.
And the nice thing when I Misty fused the ribbon, so then when I cut it, the edges didn't ravel.
Yes, and that's a good point Chris brought up. We just talked about it beforehand, and I had already forgotten it. Misty fuse things before you cut them out. So this one, if you look at this one, if you fuse this before you cut it out, the fusible is going to keep those edges, and it also helps you cut. It makes it easier to cut.
It was actually a good stabilizer for even stitching, so I used it before I stitched.
Before you even did your French knots?
So when I was holding the fabric to stitch it, it made it easier to hold and stitch with it. It gave it a little bit of body.
Right. Aren't these great?
Okay, there's a good question. What inks do you use? So show them the paints.
Okay. So I use our Artistic Artifacts paint. It comes in these 2-ounce tubs, or it comes in fluid. This is a little easier to start with when you're first learning block printing because it's the thickness of pudding. And you're going to take a stamp and you're going to take a sponge, put paint on it, and you're going to dab it like this. And there's another video on our website that talks about how to do block printing. So, but we use Artistic Artifacts acrylic textile paint on all our wood blocks. I'm a paint girl. I just love it. You can use some, oh yes, the most important tool is a $4 mat. So you're going to have your mat, put your fabric down here. You're going to take your paint and a sponge, dip it in. I usually take my paint out and put it on a paper plate. Dip my sponge in it, do this motion here, and then you're going to press. Put it down and press. And the mat is what makes the woodblock work. So if you're somebody who's used rubber stamps give, wood blocks don't. So therefore your surface needs to give in order to get a print. Okay?
You want to mention the wonderful eleganza threads and the variegated threads?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So we have eleganza, and it comes in size 8, 5, and 3. These balls that we have come in some pre-packs, which Chris is going to go grab them, and that gives you an assortment. But then we also sell these tubes. Actually, Sue Spargo's cotton is made by Wonderfill, and so we have that as well. But these are variegated and solid kits. Oh, I know, look. This is all pretty awesome. So this is, I think, again, if you're getting started, this is a great way to get started because there's a color in there that you can use. And then we recommend tulip needles, which are also online as well. So the eleganza is absolutely fabulous. It's just nice bright colors. I also will stitch with 12 weight Wonderfill cotton machine thread. Said I never would, but don't ever say never. All right, I'm going to give this back to you.
So there is a question, and I believe it was for the machine stitching.
Okay.
Is what size thread and needle do you use on your machine?
Okay, so for right now, let's see what we're going to do here because I want to show you how easy these stitches are, but of course I've piled myself into a corner. All right. See my fancy thread holder? I know that everybody else could do better than this. So, oops, that's okay to leave it, Kyle. It's all right. We're going to work on Chris's here. So, I have a 90 weight needle in my machine, and I'm going to change it and put something interesting in it rather than the black that I was sewing my ribbon for. I think I need more coffee. And this is 50 weight cotton. And sorry, I'm gonna do green. Guess I'll do some leaves. If you've never seen these Bernina threading system, it's really very nice, very easy. And these are very large bobbins that this machine comes with. Then you cut. I never knew that there was a reason why your cutters were placed there, but there is. All right, this is a variegated 50 weight. So it's going to show you the stitch. Again. All right, and this is the most fabulous part of the whole thing. It's a manual threader. Oops, I just took it out. But I'll show it to you again. All of these thread cutters are placed for a reason, so that your thread does not get all messed up in your stitch or in your work that you're working on. Okay, so the stitches for Kaffe are here. These are all your special pattern stitches, and you come down here. In my opinion, it should be the first one, but nobody asked me. So let's see what we're gonna do here. I think that one would be kind of cool. Now, this machine will stitch 9, or have a stitch width of 9. These, I thought this was very interesting because I thought I was going to have to enlarge them to get to the 9, but they automatically assume that you want this to be a 9. So, which I think is a good assumption. All right, now, I am sewing without my foot pedal. I'm gonna get rid of this. When I'm piecing, I use my foot pedal, but if I'm doing decorative stitching or something like this, I'm going to use my power on and off. It's really easy. Now, the next answer to the whole thread thing, if you can still hear me, I'm almost done here. And then we have a cutter, which again is another magic tool. And so here you can see it. This is the light, and that's the pattern stitch. It's really fun. So if I was to use a 12 weight thread, which I really want to try that, I have not tried it yet, it's going to give you a little bit bossier stitch. It's going to show up larger. It's going to, it's really going to be cool, and that's what I should be using, is the 12 weight. But, so that's going to be the difference. So 12 is the number, the lowest number you can use in a machine. So when you go to an 8 or 5 or a 3 size thread, that's going to be all hand stitching. So if you go to a 12, and then most is 50, 40, 60 is the average that what you're going to find. 80 is going to be a finer, and then we also sell thread that's 100 weight. So did that help?
What kind of thread is it that we carry?
Wonderful Specialty Threads, which, you know, again, we have all the colors all on our website. So even if you're local but you're trying to work with a project, go to the website. You can order it on the website and say you're going to pick it up. We can pull it for you and have it ready. But that's your color chart is on the website. We have all the colors and all numbered that match the numbers on the spools. So it's a great way.
The colors are awesome.
Oh,
with
the colors
Kaffe
are
fabrics. So yes,
it works really well with all the Kaffe brights. They just added 60 new colors in the 50 weight, which are just crystal clear and bright and colored. All right. Are there any other questions so far? Okay. What?
Oh, I think there was one about stitching onto the cards. Stitching on the paper.
Okay. So Chris used fusible. So if one of the things that is an advantage over a glue is the glue has some water in it, and fabric's going to look differently. So if you look at the card with the fusible on it, you do not see any eking, messy, watery type stuff. Now, if you wanted to stitch on the card, you can stitch on the card.
Feel free.
Okay.
What size needle would you use?
Whatever needle I have in my sewing machine. It's going to make a hole, so let's see what happens.
Did you have green thread?
Yeah, which one? Do you have a green one? I'm making a leaf. Oh, they all fell. Sorry. This is welcome to my life.
The Christmas one.
Christmas one. Okay, cool. All right. So, here's this. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's see what happens. So that sewing machine needle is going to put a hole in the card. going to be fine. So what you want to know is that, oh fudge, I just forgot what I was going to say. Is that you are not necessarily sewing for paper. Your needle has to be correct for your thread and your fabric and your surface. But number one, your needle needs to be correct for your thread. Like if you use a 12 weight thread, you need a 100 size needle. If you put a 90 in there, you're gonna have shredding and it's gonna be very frustrating. Ask me how I know. So Wonderfill actually has information about what its suggested needle size is. For each of their threads. Okay, so here's the light. You can see, I was gonna do a leaf, but I forgot to change it. So we have a little flower there. Okay, I'm gonna flip it. And there you go. Now, if you don't like this, take a piece of fabric and misty fuse the fabric and iron it over your stitching. It's fine. It works. What if? Try it. See, what if?
And then are the cards acid-free paper?
The paper, the ones that we sell are Strathmore mixed media, so I'm not going to assume Strathmore is acid-free. I don't really worry about it all that much. I don't. Yeah, but the Strathmore's typically that.
And we have a question, is where are we located? Because someone would like to attend the event.
Fabulous. Okay, Artistic Artifacts, we are 20 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. in Alexandria, Virginia. And our address is 4750 Eisenhower Avenue. Our website is artisticartifacts.com, and you can reserve your seat and by placing an order online, and we will have your book and your entrance will be check you in at 5. So, any other questions? Those are all great questions. It's nice to have them. Well, now you know what to do with all your ribbons. And if you don't have enough, we have some I'm sure you can order from us. So thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being part of the Artistic Artifacts creative community. And we will see you at our CAFE weekend, which starts next Friday. Thanks. Have a great day.